The San Francisco 49ers are one of the best teams in the NFL. Last season, they won the NFC West, won 15 games including playoffs, and made an appearance in their second straight NFC Championship game. They have one of the most stacked rosters in the NFL, especially on defense with the likes of Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, Javon Hargrave, and Talanoa Hufanga. San Francisco's offensive talent is stellar as well, which includes Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Trent Williams, and Deebo Samuel. And of course, they're led by head coach Kyle Shanahan, one of the best offensive minds in the NFL. But the 49ers have a major dilemma, and that's their quarterback situation. Trey Lance, their first-round pick in 2021 out of North Dakota State, was a starting QB to begin the season, but got hurt after just 2 games. After backup Jimmy Garoppolo suffered an injury, third-string quarterback and last pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, Brock Purdy, came in and played well, throwing 13 touchdowns with a 107.3 passer rating in the regular season. Both now have a case to start, and that puts the 49ers in a tricky situation. Do they hand the reins back to Lance, or do they hand the job to Purdy? For many, this debate has come down to who's the better quarterback, and it kind of is, but for me, it's not that simple. There's nothing that clearly separates Lance from Purdy right now, nor is there anything that clearly separates Purdy from Lance. Most importantly, they're 2 completely different quarterbacks. This debate shouldn't mainly come down to simply who's better, but what Shanahan wants his offense to look like. So, let's look at that today. How does the 49ers offense differ with Lance and Purdy at quarterback? First, let's quickly look at how both quarterbacks execute basic tenets of Shanahan's offense, starting with play action. This is a classic Shanahan play against the Seahawks' cover 3 look, where Purdy fakes the run, rolls to his left, and hits a wide open guy across the middle. Deebo is the one running this cross over the middle, and this route is designed to give him space to pick up some yards after the catch. Everything goes to plan here, Purdy executes it well, and Deebo is able to get the yak as intended, even scoring a touchdown on the play. Shanahan also dials up some quick pass concepts for his quarterbacks too. On this play with Lance, Kyle Juszczyk is in the backfield and will run a simple route into the flat. He's Lance's first read, and as soon as this corner follows Deebo on his slant route, Lance makes the easy throw to a wide open Juszczyk, and he's able to get a good amount of yards after the catch for a solid play. Now, let's look at what makes them different, starting with Lance. First, when Lance is the 49ers quarterback, you'll see the lineup in pistol formation a lot. This adds a small and extra component to San Francisco's offense because they're able to experiment more out of this formation. You'll see the 49ers run play action, read option plays, run pass options, and even pass run options to make use of the threat Lance has as a dual threat quarterback. I saw a couple of Purdy plays where the 49ers lined up out of pistol, but not even close to the amount I saw with Lance at quarterback. So it's definitely something Shanahan likes to do more of when he's in the game. The 49ers also make use of Lance's legs by calling many QB draws for him to run. While Purdy can be mobile, you aren't exactly going to run these types of plays with him. QB draws are almost exclusive to Lance for the 49ers, and it gives him an advantage because it adds an extra element to San Francisco's offense when he's on the field. His running isn't as explosive as it can be, and he's a little inconsistent with his vision while running, but it's still an element of his game that plays to Lance's advantage. But what I really want to do is dive into his passing. One thing that makes Lance different from Purdy is that Lance is more willing to take chances instead of playing it safe. Specifically, he'll take his chances in tight coverage, like on this play against the Cardinals in 2021. Brandon Ayuk is running a short 4 route against man coverage, and even though he doesn't get that much separation, Lance still finds a way to get the ball to him, even though he could have thrown it to Kittle over the middle, who was a little more open than Ayuk. This is where Lance's legs play a threat, because earlier in the game, the 49ers run this exact same formation with a pass-run option, where you can either take off up the middle or throw this screen. Lance runs it up the middle for a solid gain, and on this play, Arizona drops their safety down to cover the screen, creating the one-on-one matchup that Lance wants, and he hits it. It's really good coaching and a good QB play as well. Later in the game, Ayuk is running a route where he's going to break to the outside before stopping and turning his head back towards Lance like you would on a curl route. This corner is going to bail as soon as that happens, leaving the safety to drop down and cover him instead. Lance reads the left side of the field, finds nothing open, and instead of checking down to either of these players in the flat, he takes his chance with Ayuk, who's able to shield his defender well to make the catch. Here's a classic Shanahan concept off of play action naked against the Texans that same season. It's designed to where this receiver, Travis Benjamin, is able to be open across the middle. And he is. As soon as Lance gets further to his right, Benjamin clears the linebackers and runs his route underneath the quarterback to be truly open. But Lance thinks big. This deep route from Deebo is almost a last resort, but Lance sees him about to clear this defensive back running a deep drop zone and this deep safety far back enough to where there's enough room to make the throw. Instead of taking the easy crosser, Lance takes his chance and fires a deep ball to Samuel that's right on line. It's thrown with good touch, it gets there before the safety can make a play on it, and it ends up as a touchdown for San Francisco. Lance also has a pretty good zip on the ball and is able to get passes to his target quickly, and it helps him take the chances that he really likes to take. Here against the Texans, Aiyuk is running a motion from right to left to set up this slant route over the middle. But this linebacker is going to drop into the hole over the middle, which makes the task of throwing the slant more difficult. But Lance finds a way to make it work. Aiyuk finds a small, soft zone in between his defender and the linebacker, and as soon as he's in it, Lance fires a pass across the middle that hits Aiyuk very quickly. And then, he's able to break a tackle and get a ton of yards after the catch. In the same game, Houston is running a classic cover 2 look on 3rd and 12. Kittle is going to run a post route and start breaking inside as soon as he clears this linebacker here. Lance has eyes on the wide side of the field for the whole play, and specifically on Kittle. As soon as he gets past the linebacker, Lance is already targeting him and makes a good throw. The ball is a little too far out in front, and Kittle gets nudged by this safety before he makes the catch, so he has to try it one-handed. But, because he's George Kittle, he makes a great catch to help out his quarterback. Good speed from Lance on the throw too. Against the Cardinals, Debo is going to run a deep crosser across the middle here in another common play design from Shanahan. It's a play action out of pistol, and by the time Debo comes open on his route, Lance steps up and scrambles. This looks to be zone coverage from Arizona, but this defender follows Debo across the field and is right on his hip as Lance starts to throw. But Lance makes the play and unleashes a good pass to his target, a throw that Purdy is probably not going to make. Although, I do have a very slight problem with this, even though the pass was completed. This is where I'm going to get into my concerns with Lance. He doesn't throw this ball with anticipation. He could have thrown this ball right here, giving Debo a chance to get yards after the catch, which again is a key component of Kyle Shanahan's offense. Instead, he scrambles, allows the defender to catch up, and makes the throw on the run. Like I said, it's still a positive play, but Lance made this way harder than it needed to be. He does the same thing here on this play. It's a completion on a deep crosser route that's almost become synonymous with Shanahan's offense, but it's again made more difficult by Lance. He could have thrown this pass here, without stepping up and scrambling, and the same result would have happened. But he essentially creates his own pressure by stepping up when it wasn't necessary. This can come back to bite you, and it did on certain plays such as this one. It's first down, Lance is in an empty formation, and there's going to be 2 crossing routes. One from this wide receiver, and another from Debo on the outside. An edge rusher comes to give him a little bit of pressure, and Lance does well to step away from it, but for whatever reason, Lance continues rolling right, even though there are no defenders that are even close to him. He makes himself throw on the run for no reason, and ends up throwing behind Debo for an incompletion. He could have stopped right here, hit Debo around this area without moving, and it probably would have been a completion. But Lance made things hard on himself for no reason. And on this play, Lance's happy feet really came back to bite him. It's second down, and Benjamin is going to run this route against Arizona's cover 2 look. And once again, Lance has what he wants. Benjamin finds a soft spot in the zone coverage, and all Lance has to do is remain poised and layer the ball over the top of this defender to make the completion. But, in a clean pocket, Lance feels the need to scramble and run before making a throw on the move, and it results in this throw going way over Benjamin's head for an easy interception. He can definitely operate within structure, like on this play, where the 49ers have a bunch trio on the boundary side with this route combination, and the Texans are running a cover 2 look against it. Lance is reading this linebacker, Christian Kirksey, and first sees him key on the route from Kittle. Lance sees this and makes a throw towards Aiyuk's post route, putting the ball on his outside shoulder to prevent a hospital pass and protect Aiyuk as Kirksey makes his way towards him. Lance stays poised, calm, and makes the throw with confidence. He can do this, he just isn't able to do it consistently right now. And sometimes, when everything goes right, Lance's throws are just poor. Here, we have another play action concept with Kittle getting ready to run a delayed route up the field. Houston is playing zone coverage with Desmond King playing in the flat. He sees Kittle breaking into his route and takes him upfield, and Lance tries to target Kittle with a pass over the shoulder. But he doesn't get enough air on the ball. It's underthrown, and it's an easy interception for King that's all on Lance. Here on a 3rd and 4, this apex cornerback is going to drop down and blitz, leaving Lance with a ton of room to hit Aiyuk on his impending slant route. This safety is now going to be the one covering him in man coverage, but he's far back enough to where this throw should still be made. But it isn't. Lance throws the pass with good timing, but it sails over the head of Aiyuk. It's an easy throw, but one that Lance doesn't make. While Lance can diversify San Francisco's play calling and put great touch and speed on his passes, some of his throws leave a lot to be desired, and it happens more often than San Francisco would like. His mechanics can be wonky, he can be a bit too antsy in the pocket, and he's prone to scrambling when he doesn't have to. These are certainly mistakes that can be cleaned up, but as of now, Lance's passing ability isn't close to where it needs to be. The talent is there, but this is the main thing holding him back right now. Now, let's move on to Purdy, and there's a lot to like with his play. One thing about Purdy is that while both him and Lance have the ability to operate in structure, Purdy doesn't try to get cute too often, and is able to stay within the structure to make a play. Let's use this play against the Cardinals as an example. It's 2nd and goal, and the 49ers have a route combo on the left side where Debo is running this underneath route, and Kittle is going to attack his man on the inside before cutting back outside on an out route. Purdy stays in the pocket, he doesn't make any unnecessary movements, and instead simply makes a good throw to Kittle that's on target for the touchdown. He had some really good plays against the Buccaneers, including this one at the start of the game. Kittle runs this route towards the middle of the field, and as soon as he breaks into that route, Purdy is already winding up to throw to him. There's nothing more to it, and Purdy makes the easy completion for a solid play. It's important for Purdy to make these plays on time and within the structure, because he doesn't exactly have a good amount of arm strength to compensate otherwise. Here he is again making a solid play against the Seahawks, where Ayuk is running a deep 6 route towards the middle of the field. Purdy's key read is this linebacker in Seattle's cover 3 look, and Purdy bides his time, stays patient, and hits Ayuk as he comes open. Another good gain is made as a result. Here's a play concept that's usually referred to as domino, where Kittle is going to run a 5 route out of the backfield underneath, while Jawan Jennings runs a 6 route over the top of him. The key read is this linebacker, who's showing blitz, but will drop back into zone coverage when the play starts. If he continues dropping back towards Jennings, Purdy will target the short route with Kittle, and if he stops and fades towards the boundary side of the field, Purdy will target Jennings instead. He stops his drop to the 35-yard line, allowing Jennings to have some space for his route, and Purdy throws him a well-timed ball that's accurate and results in a really good gain. Another thing that makes him different from Lance is his ability to stay calm under pressure. The Dolphins really like running these cover 0 blitzes, and they threw a ton at Purdy when he came into the game. Here's one where Miami is blitzing, but dropped these 2 defensive linemen into the underneath space created by the blitz. Because it's cover 0, the Dolphins will have man coverage all the way around to cover these routes. And the only ones that will be possible for Purdy to target are Kittle's out route and Ayuk's crossing route. This is because these routes are going to be the only ones open for Purdy to throw to, given that he won't have enough time to let the others develop before he's under pressure. The crossing route will be a little more difficult because Purdy has to wait for Ayuk to clear these defenders before throwing it to him. And by the time Ayuk does clear them, Purdy will be well under pressure. But Purdy finds a way to make it happen, and this is where his athleticism comes into play. He's not as good of a runner as Lance, but he can still be mobile, and he does so here to quickly evade Javon Holland, roll to his right, and make a nice sidearm throw on the sideline to Ayuk. He does it again later in the game, and the Dolphins again drop 2 defensive linemen into the underneath space. The 49ers still won't have enough guys on the edge to block everyone, meaning Purdy will have one of the league's better edge rushers in Jalen Phillips sprinting towards him. Shanahan draws up a play to have everyone on the passing strength run routes that attack this side of the field, leaving Kittle one-on-one for a deep route. This will be a very hard throw to make, but Purdy finds a way to do it. Just before he gets hit, he throws his pass, layers it over one of the dropping defensive linemen, and puts it right in Kittle's breadbasket for the catch. This isn't something Shanahan would have drawn up if he didn't believe in Purdy, but he trusted him to make the play, and he did. This play is another Shanahan classic where Purdy has to roll right off the play action and hit this crosser across the middle. He's under pressure immediately after the play fake, but shows off some flair to evade it before hitting Debo with a nice sidearm throw. Here's another play against the Bucs where we again see a deep crossing route, this time from Jennings, over the middle, while the man Purdy eventually targets and Kittle will run a delayed route where he'll pass block at first, but eventually fade up into a short curl route. It doesn't take long for Purdy to feel some pressure as William Golston immediately beats his man once Purdy completes the play fake. It forces him to step up and evade the pressure, and Purdy is able to scramble long enough to find Kittle once he goes into his route. He could have hit Jennings over the middle, but it would have been a little more challenging, and Purdy chooses to play it safe instead. And hey, there's nothing wrong with that. I will state this as many times as needed because it's a common theme with Purdy, and like I said, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. You can play in this league for a long time by playing it safe. See Alex Smith's entire NFL career for proof. The one critique I have of Purdy is that when he has to make a throw with more difficulty or into tight coverage, he really isn't able to do it all that well. Here's an example from San Francisco's wildcard game against Seattle, where the Seahawks are playing what looks to be cover 3, and Jawan Jennings is running a 9 route down the sidelines. Purdy will target Jennings, but instead of leading him further downfield with this throw, he makes him come way too far inside, forcing Jennings to heavily adjust in order to make the catch. The throw also allows this deep safety to make a play on the ball when he wouldn't have had a chance to do so if Purdy's throw was more on line. It's not that great of a throw, and Purdy is lucky that this pass is a catch instead of an incompletion or a turnover. Here's another almost interception from Purdy earlier in the game as he targets this post route from Jennings that gets to cover one look. Jennings gets a good amount of separation and Purdy is in a clean pocket, but when it's time to make the throw, he just misses him. If Quandre Diggs is standing a little bit more to his right when Purdy makes the throw, this may be more than just an incompletion. Another play where Purdy gets away with a mistake. And sometimes his lack of arm strength prevents him from throwing it deep at all, like on this play against the Commanders. This wide receiver is going to run a deep post while Kittle is running a deep curl to target this area of the field. Once both guys turn back towards Purdy, Kittle sits in the middle and the wide receiver begins to break out into his post. But when Purdy attempts his pass, he isn't able to sail it far enough over the defensive line and it ends up getting batted down for an incompletion. I point this out simply because this is something that limits the 49ers offense. There's a bit of a low ceiling with Purdy, and he just isn't going to be capable of making plays like this on a consistent basis. He did suffer an oblique strain late in the regular season, and is still a guy selected with the last pick in the draft, so he's not going to make every throw. But his ceiling is still low, and what we see from him might be close to or at the finished product. But overall, I thought Purdy played well. His quick passes and athleticism allow him to have one of the lowest sack rates in football, his footwork allows him to at least keep himself level if he wants to attempt a deep pass, something that Jimmy Garoppolo was never able to do, and he executed the offense well. In a way, Purdy is a more athletic version of Garoppolo that sort of mimics him by playing it safe most of the time. And again, there's nothing wrong with that, I just pointed it out because it's a noticeable difference between him and Lance. This video might have an unsatisfying conclusion for some of you, because for me, the question of who should start for the 49ers doesn't have a right or wrong answer right now. There are pros and cons for both Lance and Purdy. Both have shown they can execute core principles of Shanahan's offense, and both are capable of doing things that the other can't or will never do. It goes back to what I said at the start of this video, which is that for me, this isn't about who's better, but what San Francisco really wants its offense to look like. And that's why I can't say with certainty who will be better for this team, because I don't know what Kyle Shanahan wants his offense to look like. I don't know if he saw enough from Purdy to give him the starting job, or if he wants to go back to Lance like he did at the start of the 2022 season. But here's what I do know. If Purdy becomes the full-time starter, the 49ers will still be a winning football team. They can still win over 10 games, they'll still be able to compete at or near the top of the NFC, and they'll still be able to be a contender. With Purdy, I think the 49ers are going to have an offense similar to what they had with Garoppolo, an offense that's able to function and run off its star talent, led by a quarterback who isn't going to be the main reason you win games, but is still good enough to execute the offense at a level where it can run smoothly. Brock Purdy has proven that he's capable of doing exactly that, and he has a valid case to be the starter. But despite what some might believe, so does Trey Lance. He's got a very low floor, but a very high ceiling, and one that's higher than Purdy's. If he starts, there's a chance he can bust and the 49ers offense could crater, but their offense could reach a whole nother level with Lance. Him working out for San Francisco would mean the offense doesn't have to rely on star power or Shanahan's play calling to win games. Rather, they can rely on their potential star quarterback to do that. The 49ers have yet to get over the hurdle and finally win a Super Bowl, and the key thing missing from their roster is a great, elite level quarterback. I may be in the minority, but I think Lance does have the potential to be elite, and if he takes his chance and runs with it, San Francisco could be the best team in the league. That's why I would choose to start Lance despite Purdy's good performances last season. But I don't know if that's what Shanahan wants out of his offense. He may very well want a quarterback who is just a game manager and who he doesn't have to rely on to make great plays. Starting Purdy wouldn't be a bad decision, nor would starting Lance. We will only find out what works during the season, and the right answer to this question is that only time will tell. That's the end of this video. Make sure to like this video and also make sure to subscribe, comment, and share. And as always, thanks for watching.